Can we get AI to pipe in some enthusiastic sounds? Can we get AI to sound human for us and sound excited about the world?
Yeah, actually, Riverside now has an AI voice maker.
Like a happy maker?
Yeah, let's use that.
Live from your ESG sad sack, it's a Business Pants Friday show here at November 15th studios featuring analyst hole Matt Moscardi.
Yeah. It says
Oh my God. On today's weekly wrap-up, the federal government is getting its own Facebook oversight board.
Oh.
Meritocracy is not the name of a new WWF character. Maybe it is. I don't know.
WWF. Well, what year is it? It's
WWE, sorry. Meritocracy. Meritocracy
TKO.
versus Hulk Hogan. And food with a 36-month shelf life is still bad for you.
That is
I hate to
true.
break it to anybody.
And gross. Yeah, that's true.
Our show today is being sponsored by freeflowanalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free. So I would suggest that if oversight is still important to you,
and who isn't it important for?
go to freeflowanalytics.com. I don't know, maybe you have an upcoming vote at a meeting at a company that you invest in. Maybe you are an activist investor. Maybe you just care. Maybe you just want to have talking points at your barbecue tonight.
Maybe every time you go to the store and buy a roll of paper towel, you want to know who was behind the paper towel. That's maybe as simple as that. There's always a person.
Maybe after this election, you only want to buy paper towels from companies where women have actual board power, actual power.
Oh, that'd be a fascinating way to live. Then you'd never buy a paper towel again.
Don't say it. Well, maybe you don't need paper towels. You ready to get through this?
All right, let's.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's do this. Honestly, how many weeks of mourning is too many weeks of mourning?
I want to know, we've had some good feedback recently from some of our listeners. I want to know for those of you, look, some of our listeners actually might be quite happy. That maybe the election went in the way they wanted to go. I don't know. But for those,
look, it's possible.
But for those of you who are feeling this existential dread, reach out to us. How are you coping with it? What are you doing? Are you doing anything differently? Are you reading different news sources? What are you doing? Are you paying more attention, less attention?
Are you diving into the data?
How are you coping?
How much tea are you drinking? How much whiskey is in that tea? So give us all the details.
What's hard for people like us is that now is the time where we want to give up on everything in the world, but we're also at the same time thinking that maybe it's more important than ever that there is data available to provide oversight of the people who are kind of creepily taking over your world.
We might have big changes in store for us because it might be important. We might just have to. We might just have to.
Let's get to the weekly wrap up. Did you already play me in the music?
I
don't
played
even know.
You in, so
I'm so depressed. Okay, Matt. This first headline. I mean, this is like the chickens come home to roost, right? Like these are our two sort of most villainous whipping boys over the last 2 years: Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's
favorite.
One of whom we had on our show. We actually had Vivek Ramaswamy. Now,
Musk?
For those of you in our audience who have no idea who this man is, I don't blame you. He actually ran against Donald Trump for the Republican in the Republican primary. He was kind of he was a CEO of some biopharma companies. Yeah.
He started off. He left Harvard and founded this biopharma company that basically took drugs that didn't get approval or were dying, and he would buy this small portfolio of drugs and then try to resell them. What he did was raise a lot of investor capital, go public, make sure he still owns 10.8% of the shares of Roivant Sciences. He made sure he cashed out a tremendous amount of money, and the company tanked and basically has not really recovered.
And then
he took that money and did other things with it.
Well, one of the things he's famously done in our world is that he opened an ESG company called Strive and purported to it. He calls it an anti-ESG company, even though it's the same. It's actually the same thing, really. But this is part of the new anti-woke, anti-ESG mind meld that everybody's doing, where everything is a gaslight. But so this is what he's known for. And then you have Elon Musk. The headline is that Trump taps Musk and Ramaswamy to oversee drastic changes to U.S. government. So they're being tasked essentially to come up with the government's own version of the Facebook oversight group, which is a Department of Government Efficiency. Even the name is a troll. The name, Matt, the name is actually an acronym, DOGE, referring to the cryptocurrency that Elon Musk likes. Like, even that is a troll on the American population.
Apparently, this country really thinks like bro inside jokes is enough to run a country.
Even though most of us were sprinting to get out of middle school, like it was the best day of our lives when middle school ended. Actually,
yeah. Do you remember middle school, people?
It's torturous, torturous. So these two chuckleheads are now, I suppose, being tasked. I don't know what's legal and what's not legal. They're being tasked to streamline bureaucracy, essentially eliminating jobs and shaving up to a third off of the U.S.'s $7 trillion fiscal budget. Now, what they will get away with, what they won't get away with, what's legal, what's not legal. The idea out there is that essentially they're entering what's known as founder mode, which is basically think of Uber, like right? This is where Uber goes into every region and jurisdiction, breaks every law known to the world, but builds such a huge customer base really quickly that they don't know how to like quit. They can't quit Uber, so Uber stays.
No, it's let's say that they break every single law, and once you look backwards at the devastation, then they say, well, you should have regulated or stopped us. Like that, it's not so much that like, because I don't think people are going to get hooked on not having, say, like the Department of Education or Defense or the IRS or, because there's some, I would hope, recognition that even if you hate taxes, that road you have, you do like, and that money's got to come from something, right? But the currently on the chopping block is basically everything. Like and they're doing it. Musk has put up a poll on Twitter and said,
of all places,
you can pick the things you want to see gone, but only if you're a Twitter subscriber. I mean, so you have to pay Musk to have an elected voice with an unelected official.
The whole thing is a cash grab that he's actually doing it on his own company's website, his own app. I mean, even that in itself. So here's the problem, and here's why I mentioned the Facebook oversight board, is that, Matt, you just alluded to this. There's no real clear understanding of who has oversight of this. Like Trump saying it's not in the executive branch, but that he has control over it. We don't know where this falls. We don't know who's overseeing Musk and Ramaswamy. We don't know anything. It's kind of corporate governance gone nuts.
They're effectively a dual class government officials. Like nobody knows who's accountable for it. Everybody's along for the ride, and we're just going to close our eyes and hope that it's not too bad at the other end.
And I will say this for those of you who are most frightened or upset by these things, and I don't think this is necessarily to make you feel better, but this has been going on for a long time. It was Ronald Reagan that kind of ushered in this zany era that we're in. He said in 1986, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." So conservatives have been pushing this idea for a long time. This is not necessarily new. In fact, didn't even Reagan coin the phrase "Make America Great Again"? Didn't he even come up with that?
It was "Make America Great."
Okay,
but
well,
Trump
whatever.
Added the again. See, that's
just so we're all aware, this isn't essentially new. It's clownier, it's angrier, it's louder. We
were talking in pre-production. Like, for those of you who are corporate governance people or care about the way companies are run,
could you not be if you listen to this show, this craziness?
I don't know what you are if you're listening to this show. But this is effectively, you are literally watching the WWE, Vince McMahon, in real life. This is the way the WWE was sort of like the governance of that company, the way it was treated, the way people were treated,
like family members,
the sex scandals, the like jazz hands of entertainment around it, like
dual class shares.
There's no
no oversight.
This is two dudes, and I'm going to get to this in the assholiest, who literally have they have no qualifications to do the thing that they've just been tasked to do, but it doesn't matter because we're jazz handsing our way through the next 4 years. We're just going to look over there because there's a massive cash grab happening when you're not looking by these trolls, these middle school boy trolls. That's what's happening.
That's the first headline. That's the first headline. The second one maybe is a little bit different tone to this one, but still within our sphere here. The headline is, even ExxonMobil is horrified by Trump's climate plan. So according to the New York Times, Exxon CEO Darren Woods warned that withdrawing the United States withdrawing from the Paris Agreement would greatly weaken our global efforts to curb carbon emissions. So he's actually pushing Trump to not do that. CEO Darren Woods of ExxonMobil.
Get the fuck out of here! This is the
nuttiness.
This is the ultimate gaslight, because
you think so?
Darren Woods, ExxonMobil would be doing nothing without shareholder proposal after shareholder proposal for 20 fucking years to get them to report on their emissions, to set emissions goals. And this is the same Darren Woods that just sued Arjuna Capital, its own shareholder, rather than just letting a proposal go to
have
vote
a non-binding
and
vote.
A non-binding vote go and
never
lose.
Pass. Yeah.
They sued them after the SEC said it was fine to have that vote. Darren Woods said, no, I want to send a message to these assholes who keep talking about climate change. They sue them.
It's crazy.
And now he's out there saying, oh, no, we have to embrace curbing emissions. Like, what an asshole. He should have been asshole of the week. What an asshole.
Here's the quote from CEO Darren Woods from ExxonMobil. We need a global system for managing global emissions. Trump and his administrations have talked about coming back into government and bringing common sense back into government. I think he could take the same approach in this space. So,
yeah, what an asshole. Where is the board? Muzzle him, right? Your job is to go when that guy says we should sue our shareholder. Your job is to say that's a stupid fucking idea.
Well,
don't do that. We won't let you.
I would say without that element of the story, I would maybe just shrug my shoulders here and be like, okay, this guy has a little bit of common sense. But that he just sued Arjuna Capital for introducing a resolution that essentially asked for things like this.
Exactly like this.
It is mind-boggling.
It is the ultimate gaslight.
It's almost like twice in our history now, we've elected Trump and everyone's like, whoops, oops. We didn't really want to elect him. We don't really want this again.
On November 15th, we elected him 10 days ago.
Because we know what's coming. All right, that's the second story. Could I just move forward?
Maybe
this is hopeful to somebody out there. This is getting a lot of press this week. I don't know if this is just making liberals feel good or it's meaningful. Twitter is getting absolutely destroyed as users flee to rivals run by people who haven't lost their minds. That's the headline.
Ooh,
so Blue Sky, I guess, is the big beneficiary here. They're the number one app in the Apple App Store. They've seen over 1 million new users in this week alone, and they've grown from 9 million users in September to 15 million. In a related news, entities like The Guardian have decided to give up on using X and Twitter. I don't know if any of this is meaningful or just to make a few people feel good. But Elon Musk certainly, his wealth is benefiting so greatly from the upsurge at Tesla that he doesn't need to make money, unfortunately, at Twitter or X. So it's not hurting Elon Musk, but maybe it's destroying the collective voice over there at X and Twitter. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know what this is doing.
Well, I don't know what it's doing, except first of all, have you seen Blue Sky?
I actually signed up for it over the summer, and because I'm stupid and don't understand social media in general, I just didn't understand that as well, and I got bored.
That's a totally different problem. It looks exactly like Twitter.
It's a decentralized version of Twitter, right? They don't hide that fact, but it's not meant to broadcast to the world. It's not meant to have algorithms that put you in echo chambers. It's really meant to you're meant to organically create your own communities, right?
Just so we're clear, the thing I like about Blue Sky is it's
not
CEO
owned by Elon Musk. Yeah, let's start with that.
But the founder is Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey's the founder of Blue Sky.
That doesn't make it bad.
That doesn't make it good. It's the same guy who handed Twitter.
He's no longer involved with Blue Sky,
to Elon Musk and said Elon Musk is the only light. Do you remember? We have such short memories. Jack Dorsey was the one who said Elon Musk is the only one who can, save Twitter
because he wanted
the shining beacon of light.
He wanted his money. That's what we've learned.
And this has been a total disaster. It's effectively Truth Social, just with users.
Jack gaslit us. I think we assumed he meant something philosophical, existential. He just meant he's the only idiot who's going to give me all this money to bail me out of this mess.
We seriously need to grow longer beards and start doing yoga more on camera, and everyone will believe everything we say is holistic and meaningful. It's unbelievable.
That's the third big story. And the fourth big story is a nod to one of the friends of our show, Doug Cha.
Doug Cha.
In his company, Soundboard Governance.
They are fabulous. If you need governance, you're a company and you need governance help, Doug Cha is the dude. He's the dude.
But this headline's also making the rounds in our world as well. But here's the headline. Jamie Dimon on not getting a job under Trump, quote, I have not had a boss in 25 years, and I'm not about ready to start.
Amazing.
So, Doug, I'm going to give credit to Doug, although, I had the same joke in my head, but Doug posted it first on LinkedIn. And the joke being that corporate governance certainly is a joke. And in the U.S., at least, it's a scam. Because clearly he has a boss. It's the board.
It's the board.
Yeah, but maybe Jamie is right to point out that in America, the CEOs are aristocrats, and the board is really just there to do your bidding, right? That's what we've been saying for a while. The CEO is the quarterback, and the board is your offensive line. They block for you so you can get things done.
I would call the
maybe
board...
they advise you. Maybe they advise you on things.
Isn't the board the GM and
whatever? I don't know. Whatever horrible analogy you want. But they're not actually there to provide oversight, to provide counterbalance, to fire you. They're there to help you get things done.
Well, congratulations to Jamie Dimon for not having a boss with 10, 11 bosses in a room with him.
At least he finally said the truth about something, although it's not in the way he intended. I think he was trying to act like a big man. Yeah.
But I also like that we have a Jamie Dimon says. We can't go a week without a Jamie Dimon says. So it's like a win-win for me. In fact, that is my story of the week.
All right. Wow. Let's just get right to
it. You could make a legitimate argument that the other things are significantly more important than this.
Well,
but in the interest
of scheme
of
things, yeah.
I mean, we're talking about last week. My asshole was lack of accountability. Accountability
I think this is
dead,
important,
right?
actually. Yeah.
He's admitting it. He doesn't mean to, but that's literally what he's saying. The board is pointless. Investors are pointless. I'm my own boss. I call the shots. And look, that is how every fucking CEO thinks. And if you're an investor, you should be saying to yourself, that is not correct.
Yes.
I am the owner of this company. I elect these people to be your boss. You are not your own boss. You have a boss, and your boss is me. And that's what you should be thinking.
For all of you who exist in this ESG sphere and this corporate governance sphere, all you who care about the future of America, don't give up. Make this. You should get angry about stuff like this. I mean, you should double down, right? I mean,
yes.
Now is the era to actually hold people accountable. Vote against the board that lets Jamie Dimon think that he's the boss. I don't know. Just do something. Don't give up. Don't run to New Zealand. Don't run to Denmark.
Every single board. The data's free on freeflowanalytics.com, our wonderful sponsor. Every single board where the CEO has outsized power on that board, are connected to everybody on that board, or it's very clear there's no real independent members on that board, like their brothers on the board, vote against them all. because it's not just your fiduciary duty. Your fiduciary duty includes like duty of care, duty of loyalty, and a good faith, right? Your fiduciary duty means they have a boss. It is you. It is your responsibility to find every CEO who thinks they are absolutely unaccountable to anyone and vote them the fuck out.
Yeah,
you vote them out of the board.
I think what Matt's saying, I'm thinking what Matt's saying, if the Red Sox can trade Babe Ruth, then you can fire Jamie Dimon. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
because that worked out well for the Red Sox, didn't it?
100 years of a curse. That was a good move. All right, let's see the next
move on.
thing.
Come on. I'm going to pretend I hear the music. Goodliest. We only have the best part of Goodliest this week was there's only 2 stories to discuss.
Because there's never anything good.
Not a lot good going on. No, I'll start. I don't know if you saw this, but The Onion, of all things, The Onion, the satirical newspaper.
I love The Onion. Yeah,
they bought Alex Jones's InfoWars out of bankruptcy. So, and this is what they're going to do. Is they're essentially gonna make a parody out of Alex Jones' InfoWars Empire? I mean, it already seemed like a parody.
I mean, that's the problem. Is they can't do anything that isn't already a parody of itself, like in reality, right? So, and
just so anyone's clear here, that this is not like harming the real victims. Because the reason why Alex Jones InfoWars is in bankruptcy is because the families of the Sandy Hook Elementary School victims sued the hell out of Alex Jones.
They did.
But the families themselves sanctioned this. They wanted The Onion to buy that InfoWars out of bankruptcy so they could make it available as a parody. So this is not just The Onion acting on its own.
So the bad news is
I was not going to cover this.
They won the bid,
but the judge
has stayed the purchase.
I didn't want to. I saw that this morning. I'm hoping that it will clear everything up. There was a few details that the judge wanted to look over, but I'm going to keep this as a good for now because I'm just praying that this stands.
Well, I don't know on what basis the judge is stepping in and saying the auction could have been not handled properly. Like it feels like that's only in response to the fact that The Onion won, right? Like it's not so much like there were other problems. They auctioned off a bunch of stuff, didn't they? Like it was like
they're worried about certain disclosure, but I think everyone who probably bid for the InfoWars probably had some disclosure problems. So it looks like it is a targeted attack on The Onion winning this.
So, but I love this story. It's fabulous. But mine might be better.
Can we buy? You think we could buy the new Department of Government Efficiency and turn it into a parody, or is it already a parody? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's probably taken. There's some domain troll out there who's got 75 versions of it.
What's your
my story is Kraft Heinz discontinues school Lunchables.
Okay.
Just you don't even have to go further, but I will.
I gotta be honest. Can you go further? Because maybe I am like an elitist snob. I don't even really know what Lunchables are.
So Lunchables are these little like pre-packaged things of like crackers, highly processed cheese, highly processed meat, and usually like a cookie.
So is it an update of what we used to have when we were kids? Of that little package with that little red knife where you'd smear cheese on crackers? Is it kind of like that?
Well, there was that version, but it was the version I had growing up was I got crackers out of a container and put them in a different container. I got cheese out of a different container and put it in my lunch container.
And you got like ham slices.
And I got ham slices and just got to roll them up and shove them in there.
Yeah.
But this was all put together. But that's not the problem. The problem was that they gave this to public schools.
Oh, the schools were serving this as a lunch.
They were serving this as a lunch option at public schools, okay?
Right, wow.
And this is from the article. When the Lunchables were sold to be tailored to meet school standards, Consumer Reports found that they contained high levels of sodium, higher than those found in the same items in the grocery store, as well as potentially troubling levels of phthalates and heavy metals. They found heavy metal in it.
Deli meats are the worst.
They said one of the little Lunchable packets, and when I say little, I mean these are like, these are like the size of your face. Like it's it's tiny. It's like a little package.
Just call my face tiny? I don't think I like that.
I did. As much as a quarter of a child's recommended limit for sodium for the entire day in that little thing, and that they were highly processed and have been linked to increased risk of cancers. But they've discontinued school Lunchables. So that feels like a win for schools.
But help me out here. Who made this decision? Kraft Heinz made this decision? The government made this decision?
Kraft Heinz made the decision.
Do we know why?
I think they were wildly unpopular. That's what the article suggested, that nobody wanted Lunchables.
It does seem like good news, but the winner, although I would say that the winner seems pretty clear to me that it should be the Onion buying Alex Jones InfoWars, but it hasn't gone through yet. So can it be the winner?
Mine is the winner because it's actually happened.
All right, fine. We'll give you the win on that one. Let's move on.
But also, I love children, and you apparently hate children.
Yeah, I do.
So that mine is the winner.
Let's move on.
Let's do Assholiest. Come on.
This sounds like it's going to be super depressing.
Come on, let's do it. All right, no, we already talked a little bit about the first thing. The first asshole of the week is Meritocracy.
Oh, boy. I mean, with this clown car of cabinet picks, is there a meritocracy in the U.S.?
When they announced that Matt Gaetz was like up for attorney general in this country,
I knew that
it's just comedy now. Yeah. It's and Vivek, I want to point out the point of Strive Asset Management, the company he founded, and the anti-woke investor, the ESG cloaked anti-woke investment company, was their whole talking point.
Yeah, and he also screamed about it here on the show too.
He said it on our show. Yeah. He talked about meritocracy,
reintroducing the concept of meritocracy in the U.S. as a not so veiled shot at hiring women and people of color.
Right. He said DEI is the death of meritocracy.
Right.
Elon Musk himself has said the exact same thing. He said DEI is anti-meritocratic, and this administration is clearly just a clown car of fuck-face loyalists.
We have a cable news host for the Department of Defense. We have a middling representative who just stepped down because of an ethics probe from Florida. He's the new attorney general.
The reason why, so Matt Gaetz stepped down because they were about to release.
And by stepping down, they can't release the report.
Is that it? They can't release the report.
But still, that doesn't exactly represent.
Step down.
But can we at least agree that on some level, that doesn't represent merit for the job of the top lawyer in the country?
Being investigated for ethics violations.
Just in general.
And underage sex.
Can we at least agree to that, though?
Yeah, I think maybe we can agree that in Vivek's, even in the demented world of like brown people shouldn't have jobs, this isn't meritocracy either.
No, I'd say it's not.
But I noticed this also this week, just to further the narrative. Damien, for those of you who don't know, Damien collects every single day thousands of stories. Among those stories,
somebody has to.
Board appointments. Because,
somebody has to care.
As we've said on the show, board members are not elected. They are appointed and then effectively
steamrolled.
Right?
Yeah, like steamrolled.
They put them on the board for oftentimes almost up to a full year, which would be 1/7 of the average term of a director. They put them on the board. They pay them. They give them options. They almost get those options fully vested before it even goes to an advisory vote in this country.
Yeah, because knowing that their shareholders won't be paying attention anyway and are going to be rubber stamping.
They literally almost always... We looked through the data, and there's like 4 instances in the last 10 years where an appointed director got less than 50% of the vote. It rarely ever happens. So they just get shoved in there, and they're already working before investors even get to look at it. I saw this headline. Felicia Williams joins NeoGenomics board of directors. This is one of hundreds of times you capture this a week?
I gotta say, this is one of my least favorite categories that I capture because there's so many.
There's so many of them.
Board
you realize how many, and we are capturing things like the YMCA is adding board members.
It's interesting. I compiled data. I don't remember for which company, but I was looking at. There's a new director appointment this week. We're not doing the Proxy Countdown show this week, but I still compiled a lot of data in case we did the show. But one of the places this guy sits is on the board of the Juilliard School in Manhattan, in New York City, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to look at the Juilliard School's board, and I started to plug in names into our database, Matt. In the first 10 minutes, I found 3 people in our database who also are on the Juilliard School.
I am telling you right now, I am running 4 million nonprofits. Every board member at over 4 million nonprofits in the United States to find matches with directors at publicly traded companies. And the number of matches just in the samples are astonishing. Because you have places like, like I found out Susan Schwab, Susan Schwab, who's a director. She was part of the Boeing 3. She was on Caterpillar and Boeing at the worst points of Caterpillar and Boeing. She's the chair of the like Foreign National Trade Council. Like it's another, along with on that board are company officials from AbbVie, Google, every major Midwestern corporation. The fact is, there's so much sort of graft here that we know exists. I have nothing against Felicia Williams joining NeoGenomics board. I don't know Felicia Williams for anything. Her bio states she brings experience as the interim CFO of Macy's. Ostensibly after Macy's declared bankruptcy, she's the interim CFO of it. She had experience at Coca-Cola, among some other companies. And it struck me that NeoGenomics is a DNA oncology testing company.
Yeah.
Which of those skills are merited at an oncology company?
This was the rabbit.
Working at Coca-Cola, working at Macy's. Which
I'm going to say Coca-Cola. This is what got me down the Juilliard School rabbit hole, because the Juilliard School board member that I was looking into was Jeffrey Campbell, who is joining the board of Marathon Petroleum Corporation.
There we go. Yeah, those two things make sense.
So the next time you're at your kid's performance at the Juilliard School, what do you think about who's on the board of that place?
Here's a fun one from our database. This one's from our database. We have knowledge map of virtually every director who's active today. Apple actually tops our list of U.S. large cap companies where the board as a group has the biggest gap between the industry average knowledge and this board's knowledge. So as an example, right? You would expect a bank to have a lot of finance bros on the board. Yeah. That just makes sense, right? Well, if your bank has no finance people on the board and every other bank has a lot of finance people on the board, that seems like it would be a problem. You have a different set of knowledge than the industry. Apple is in the technology hardware industry, sub-industry. Yep. The average is obviously computer science. It's like computer people,
sure.
Right? At Apple's board, the multi-trillion-dollar company Apple, the only one on the board with a computer science background is Tim Cook.
And that's the CEO.
And he's the CEO. Yeah. Apple is the Disney of technology, right? Like they basically have a board full of people who are brand aware.
No, let's be aware. Let's be honest. Companies like Apple, and it's only going to get worse under the next Trump administration. Companies like Apple essentially are sovereign states. And the people they acquire on their boards are basically dignitaries from across the globe. They're not experts in computer sciences and the things they actually sell.
So my point here is by pointing out Apple and NeoGenomics is that we are looking at this administration coming in as like a clown car of non-merited human beings, basically loyalists to the CEO of the country, like who are just crazies. But when you look through the data at corporate boards, this has been the case
they already
forever.
Have their own clown cars. Yeah. This is why it's important.
Clown cars.
This is why we beg people to pay attention to executives and board members because forever there's been an open door to let these people in, whether they have the merit or not. And investors actually have a role in deciding whether they stay or not. And investors are passing that. Everyone's mad at all the Democrats who didn't show up to vote at this election. There's like 10 million fewer voters or whatever. They should also be mad at the investors who don't bother to pay attention.
Who don't show up to vote.
Right?
That is correct.
Well, worse, Matt. They vote, but it's just an automatic yes.
If you,
I was looking at it. I looked at there's a director at H&R Block this week. He had Richard Johnson. He's been on the board since 2000.
Come on. His name is Dick Johnson, really?
Yes, on the H&R Block. Been on the board since 2015, right? And shareholders determined that they somehow made the objective determination that he is worth 99.5% of their vote. Why? What? But what are they seeing about him over everyone else that they think is better? How is he so good?
I don't know.
What are they listing in his bio that is telling them this? Like what? I don't even understand, Matt. It's just like, it's crazy to me.
The point to me is, and the reason why meritocracy is an asshole is because you're being gaslit if you think there is any. If you think Matt Gaetz, in being Attorney General of the United States of America... Well, he's a white man,
though. He's a white man.
But if you think that is merited...
Isn't that what meritocracy, though? Isn't that what they're talking about?
If you think that's totally insane, which right now, the conservatives in America think that's insane. Like
even the moderate Republicans are
Everyone
worried.
is saying... This is a little insane, isn't it? If you think that's insane, look around the alternative democracy at every board, and you will find the exact same insanity. Year in and year out, investors just say, whatever, who cares? Yeah. But there is no merit. Vivek is so full of shit, and Elon is so full of shit because on Elon's own board, his brother's there. How much merit is there to that?
Well, maybe
it's all make-believe.
Maybe that is what is enabling Trump to win again. Maybe that is what is enabling directors to get voted in. What'd you say? 96% of the vote.
96% is the average. Yeah.
Is what you just said? Is that this attitude of who cares?
Who cares? Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Which is why we kind of feverishly work at this every day to compile the data to kind of help you care, right? Like, because the who care thing, the apathy around it is what makes this happen, right? It's what makes everything rubber stamped. So we have to defeat the apathy somehow.
Think of it this way: if you are an investor, every bit of downside risk is a decision made by a human being somewhere. It's a decision made by a board saying, here's our 5-year strategy that we approve. It's a decision made by an executive officer saying, yes, spend money on that acquisition that makes no sense. If you are a regular human being and you don't consider yourself an investor, everything you shop for, everywhere you go, all the regulations, the thing that allows you to have like roads and bridges and all that stuff, those are decisions made by human beings. If you do not care that the human beings who make those decisions are experts or merit a position, what the fuck do you care about? Like, there's nothing you should care about more.
Probably Netflix
than
without
having
ads.
The right person. But even the ads on Netflix, decision made by a human being.
No, without
somewhere.
ads. Without they care. They don't want the ads.
Yeah. Well, that decision to show you the ads, that was a decision made by a human being somewhere. All right.
Your first asshole is meritocracy. Number two. 8Ks.
You got a little arcane for this one. But here's why.
You mean the filings? The news releases
filing. The news releases,
okay,
the 8Ks.
I like this asshole.
Tesla did not release an 8K mentioning the fact that their CEO has been tapped to be a government employee.
Well,
that's another job.
Yeah.
Like,
well, look,
I read every reg about 8Ks I could find, and it says, it's like explicitly in there, changes in like appointments of directors or, resignations. It's all about this stuff. Every event should basically get an 8K.
Tesla's the one that's hardest for me because doesn't Tesla sort of expose the game of the stock market? I suppose it's not about fiduciary duty and care, and it's not about like long term. It's really just about kind of spinning a tale, like telling a story that makes the stock price go up.
That's
right?
propping a dude up. Yeah. But that's all I had to say about it because like when I saw the first thing I did, they're not going to.
But they're not going to play a disclosure game. This is why the data that you can find for free at freeflowanalytics.com is so important because I know it's not their call, but you think the head of investor relations at Tesla is feeling any urge to do anything?
I don't care what the head of investor relations is thinking. The SEC should say the President-elect of the United States
right?
just tapped your CEO to do a job, and you didn't disclose this is
the conflict of interest that everyone is worried about. No one has fought with the SEC more in the last 20 years than Elon Musk, and of course their budget is going to be, especially their enforcement budget, is going to be non-existent, right?
Enforce that one
it's
guy.
Be slashed.
You could spend all day.
I mean, they're probably going to attempt to completely eliminate the SEC, let alone cut the budget.
Well, I am glad that Vivek was. There was rumors that he was up for the head of the SEC, but now he's.
This is better to you. I don't know.
And Ian Bremmer, who of Eurasia Group, posted on LinkedIn. He said, "There's nothing more appropriate than the head of the Department of Government Efficiency having two heads."
Well, this is what I forgot to point out in the story of the week. This is what exactly.
Stupid.
Thank you. Exactly. That out of all situations, this is where we find co-CEOs.
Yeah, I know. Like the efficiency place is where we have co-CEOs. It's so stupid. And the joke's on us.
That's revealing the joke, right?
But come on, investors, demand at a minimum what you should. Some investors somewhere, Tornetta, you sued them already. So file another suit that says, where's the 8K that says the risk of the CEO having a 12th job, this time with the U.S. government, doing something that has nothing to do with Tesla.
For those people who are in our audience and who are investors or work at companies that maybe like vote on these things and care about this stuff, and you're on the fence about voting because you think it's too aggressive, you think you're going to offend people, even if you don't vote somebody out, you're creating the illusion that you are providing oversight, that you're there looking is important more than ever. Okay.
Yes.
So even if
smoke and mirrors, just make it look like you're doing it.
But this is important, right? I mean, you at least have to let them know that we're still here paying attention. Because if we lose that, then we're losing everything. There is no oversight. There's nothing.
Come on, Silver Lake and Scott Galloway got Jack Dorsey fired as the CEO of Twitter because he wanted to move to Africa, and he was the CEO of two companies. Elon Musk is now working for the U.S. government, and he's got 7 other CEO jobs. And you can't fucking fire him. You cannot fire him. Clearly, he's dismantled from Tesla's day-to-day operations. What's the point? You don't need him.
We're re-entering the next 4 years. We're re-entering the second stage of the shareholder versus stakeholder capitalism argument, right? Remember the business roundtable? When did they declare that? 2017?
That was 2019, I think.
Right, and why do we think they even declare that in the first place? What was the temperature in the United States that made them declare that? They just thought that there was enough momentum behind stakeholder capitalism that this was the time to why?
Maybe
why do you think they did it in the first
place?
place?
18. I think it was.
I'm going to look it up. Was it after the first president, the Trump presidency?
There was a lot of push about income inequality, and I remember Jamie Dimon, which has
only gotten worse, by the way, since they made that declaration.
Yeah, FYI. Jamie Dimon, who was then the chair of the Business Roundtable, came out and said,
right, 2019.
The barbarians will be at the gate if we don't talk. This is at the World Economic Forum. He said the barbarians will be at the gate if we don't address income inequality and these kinds of issues going forward. And then they put out the statements about the purpose of a corporation is its stakeholders.
So where are we now?
It was walls around it's the walled garden around their money by saying like,
moats.
Oh, our purpose is stakeholders. Now you don't have to go after us because we make so much money. So where we are now is we are removing those walls and saying it was all a joke. Like no one cares.
Any other assholes?
Yeah, one more. I know it's a lot.
Okay, do we need more? Yeah.
Voting against your self-interest.
Oh, well, we've brought this one up several times in the show.
Except
I think I know where you're going with this one.
Yeah, this one's simple. Here's the headline I saw. Traders betting against clean energy stocks have made $1.3 billion since Trump's election win.
Betting against clean energy stocks.
Against clean energy. They're talking about gutting the EPA. They're talking about removing all of the clean energy stuff from the Infrastructure Act.
Why the hell would you bet against a clean energy stock in the first place?
Here is, like, if you live in a red state, this is the problem. Mm-hmm. I pulled all the data from the U.S. Department of Energy, the percent increase in clean energy jobs between 2020 and 2024, and I pit that against the percent of people voting for Trump in this election. And you can see the chart in the production notes. It's very, very simple. The red states all got all the jobs. Yeah. In fact, the average Trump voting state, that's a state that votes more than 50% for Trump, had 53.6% increase in clean energy jobs. That is job growth over 4 years. They a more than 50% increase in those jobs. The average Harris voting states, 23.6% clean energy job growth.
Do we know why this is? Do the red states have are the regulations easier to get by? Do they pay their workers less? Like, do we know why this is the case?
If you're a solar company, there's a lot of sun in them. They're often in the south. If you're like, there's a lot of resources there. There's a lot of job forces there. They actually created subsidies to put them there. A lot of companies have manufacturing there already, so they just tack on this.
There are a lot of reports that claim that this, in a nutshell, was the problem with this election, is that it was basically going to be, did people care about these new jobs or do they care about the higher prices? And they say they care about the prices. They don't care about the new jobs they got.
Buy stuff with no job. I don't know how to tell you that.
I don't understand it.
And looking at the number, like West Virginia had an over 300% increase, and it is the state that voted second most for Trump.
I was going to say, that's a wildly red state these days.
I don't understand what you're doing or thinking, because when they repeal all this stuff, you lose, you idiots.
Well, maybe you should blame maybe you should blame the co-CEOs at Netflix, because I think Americans are addicted to entertainment and to co-CEOs, I guess, because of Vivek and Elon.
I'm going to blame the co-CEOs of the Department of Efficiency.
But back to your wrestling analogy, maybe that's it. Maybe just voters they love the spectacle.
Love the show, baby. They love the show. Those
all right, so I get
options.
to vote asshole
Meritocracy, 8Ks, and voting against self-interest.
The voting against self-interest, no. That's not the asshole of the week.
Oh.
8Ks, it's cute. I like what you're saying there. But this is the week to vote against this gaslit version of the meritocracy, right?
I'm pretty sure you're not going to get a better week than this.
Because this does expose the whole game. I mean, if you wanted to hold on to this notion that, maybe they're going to create some kind of methodology. Maybe they're going to prove to us that, we're picking these people because of these reasons, because they have the best backgrounds, they have the best grades, whatever it is, the best track records at this and that. That's clearly not what they're doing. The meritocracy is it's a not so veiled attempt to say that we want essentially white people or men.
Well,
I know Vivek's not white, but
there was someone who's connected to me on LinkedIn who's a MAGA person, and I have some MAGA people and people who vote for Trump on my LinkedIn connections, and their post was, "This is why we love Trump, because he's putting millennials in positions of power," and he listed the ages of these people.
That's
not
why.
A single one is qualified,
right?
But they're all young. Yes,
right.
That was it.
And the Biden administration had nobody who was young.
No. We didn't do that analysis. We only did the analysis of these.
Again, people. Don't get me going down that rabbit hole of let's actually. This is where I get upset about Jeffrey Sonnenfeld with his op-eds about how great the CEOs are.
Laser focus.
At least show me the data. I mean, if that's your contention, that I'm actually fine with it. But just at least back it up with some data. So
no, they're not going to do that. All right, the asshole is the meritocracy. That gives us headlines, winners, predictions.
Yeah, come on. Whew. I actually have two headlines of the week, I hate to tell you.
Oh, cheater.
I couldn't resist. The first one is just so classic for our world, I just had to include this one. This is from, I don't know where this is from. Business Insider. X's new CFO, this is the Twitter.
Yeah,
X's new CFO received a presidential pardon during Trump's first term. I'm just going to leave that one out there.
What did they do?
He was in federal prison for, I don't even remember, something to do with fraud, lying about Iran. I don't remember. I don't know.
It's fabulous.
I don't care. Let's just let the headlines speak for
winner, though.
But how about this second one? I don't know where this fit in the show, but I just wanted to talk about it, so I shoved it in here. Here's the headline. Google's Gemini chatbot explodes at user, calling them stain on the universe and begging them to please die. I want to read what the chatbot from Google actually said. So this is actually backed up by chat logs. And so this is someone is having a conversation with a Gemini chatbot to help them complete their homework assignment. So I guess this is like a
kid.
Kid.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And this is what the chatbot said. Again, this is not research from Twitter. This is backed up by the chat log. It says the chatbot said this is from Google, the company Alphabet, Matt.
Yeah,
Alphabet,
Sergey
the
and
company.
Larry.
Yeah.
Sergey and Larry, the guys who own
Quote,
it all.
This is for you, human, you and only you. You are not special, you are not important, and you are not needed. Yeah. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain on the universe. Please die, Gemini said. Please.
Wow.
So now do we have concern that there's no proper oversight at these corporations or big data? Are we ever going to have any concern over anything? I mean, the regular democracy failed you. So for the next 4 years, why don't you get involved with us and get involved in the alternative democracy?
Yeah.
Make yourself feel better.
Make yourself do something.
Because Matt, you've had this long-standing point that I love is that, okay, so Alphabet and Google is controlled, unfortunately, by a couple of dudes. But there's a bunch of directors there who sit on other companies. Why don't we vote them out everywhere? Why don't we
should be toxic,
right? And that's not
toxic everywhere.
And that's not like that's not going to offend anyone or
no, Will. But who cares?
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, what are we doing? Who are we trying to not offend? What are we doing now? Look, come on.
By the way,
exercise your right to vote.
The board at Alphabet is a stain on the universe, by the way.
This is just that's a tough one. Come on, lighten me up with your headline of the week.
All right, I like this one. Kraft Heinz. It's a big Kraft Heinz week.
I was going to say, you're dipping into the Kraft Heinz vat a lot this week.
Kraft Heinz must face mac and cheese lawsuit, judge rules.
Okay.
Come on, there's a mac and cheese lawsuit.
Can we put the Alex Jones InfoWars lawsuit into this lawsuit
I would love
somehow?
to fold the two together. This one is Kraft Heinz. It's a class action suit alleging that it defrauded customers by claiming its macaroni and cheese contains no artificial preservatives. That's what they said on the box. And it turns out it does contain artificial preservatives. Can you believe it?
You mean the dinner that stays in your pantry for 17 years has preservatives in it?
It doesn't go bad. It has preservatives in it. Yeah, even after you cook it, you can leave it out for 6 weeks and it's fine.
Can we end the show?
I think I win headline news of the week. I'm going to just declare that.
Take the victory.
Who won the week? Who you have as a winner?
I lost steam when I got to this part of the show, so I just said shitheads.
Oh no,
shitheads won the week.
That's not wrong.
I don't know what to say. I'm losing my ability to have any like analytical grace, so I'm just gonna say shitheads.
Oh well, I went with pizza won the week.
Why? Tell me why pizza.
Because I saw two headlines. The first one was Warren Buffett thinks pizza is more valuable than iPhones right now.
Warren Buffett, our genius oracle, right, who couldn't endorse a candidate either way. I guess it was hard for him. He is throwing a bunch of money into Domino's pizza of all, not even good pizza. Of all things.
Crap pizza. Yeah. Apparently he recognizes that he didn't endorse the candidate that he would have endorsed because he didn't want to. The candidate he doesn't like won. People are eating their feelings, and that's pizza. That's a lot of pizza.
And they're afraid to leave their home, so they're having it delivered to them.
So they're doing it. They have that commercial where it's like you press an emergency button and they just bring a pizza to you wherever you are.
Congratulations, Warren Buffett.
And the second headline was nearly 260 million Americans could be overweight or obese by 2050. Like
that's good news.
It was a 2050 headline mixed with a Warren Buffett pizza headline. I feel like pizza's definitely winning here.
That feels like a gold medal somehow.
And do you have a prediction or no predictions for you?
I realize as we get to this part of the show that I pulled an old-fashioned R of the Data Queen. This is my first.
What? No prediction from Damien.
Let me think of something while you read your prediction.
All right. Well, then I won't play us out yet. I went since I dipped so much in the Kraft Heinz tub. I want Kraft Heinz again for my prediction. I think Kraft Heinz, for all of this bad press, they're going to blame board chair Miguel Patricio, whose background outside being ex-CEO of Kraft Heinz includes, get this, I guess this is apropos, but if I were an investor, I would think this is not what I want out of my food company. He was in marketing at Anheuser-Busch, marketing at Compagnie Bebidas, which is a Brazilian beer company. He worked in marketing at Philip Morris, and he worked at marketing at Coca-Cola. Are you kidding me? Like, no wonder why there's a mac and cheese lawsuit because they said artificial preservatives, and Lunchables, they lose the Lunchables contract. So my prediction is they're going to blame him, and he gets fired. He gets fired from the board.
Here's my prediction. ExxonMobil's CEO Darren Woods, he also joins the board over there at the Juilliard School.
I love that.
And, well, why not? Because there's already a board member from Marathon Petroleum.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
And he decides he sues the cellists. He sues all the cellists for playing the cello when they could be playing the violin. What are they doing?
That's true. What are they doing?
Right?
Put down that cello.
Come on, the cello's stupid.
That's Hazelnut Rawless. I am your analyst, Matt Biscardi. We are Free Float Media. This is a Free Float Media production. If you like
somebody has to do this. Somebody's got to do what we're doing.
Talk about this stuff. You should go get Shareholder Primacy if you want to hear what experts think, because that's Mike Levin and Ann Lipton. They're like actual experts. Lipton's a Tulane law professor.
Unlike us
Levin's
violin jokes
investor.
over here. Yeah,
I know. They're not making jokes. They're making real points about real stuff. But otherwise, we're going to skip Proxy Countdown this week because no one cares about it. If you care about it, you want to hear it.
No, it's not true. It's
come
not
back
true.
At us. Yeah, so we do have
very
12
few
people that care about it. We'll be back next week. Until then, goodbye.